Hello, thank you for agreeing to interview with me. I have a quick question first. May I have your name and how long have you been practicing Taekwondo for?
My name is Brian Douglas. I started Taekwondo in about 1979 and became a black belt in 1984. So it's about 45 years, something like that.
Now, I know you generally teach the elderly. How do you ensure safety during kicking drills or form practice?
Well, that's a good question. During kicking drills, the main thing is not kicking too high. So if you have a person that's a little elderly, I would try to tell them to kick low, about shin height, maybe knee height, because that's the best for self defense anyway. And it's they're more likely to be able to maintain their posture throughout the kick. Also, the other thing is we try to have a lot of distance around everybody. So the distancing and the spacing in the class is very important. You can't have people like right on top of each other. If they spin around or do something, they might hit somebody else. So people need a lot of room, and they should kick low, and they should do a little bit of stretching and warm up first, and try not to kick cold. And regarding doing patterns or forms, same basic thing. You need some room around everybody, and I frequently tell uh, more advanced age people to just not do full power. Just moderate your power.
I'm glad you brought up posture because that's actually the next question. Have you noticed any improvements in balance or posture among your elderly students?
Yeah, actually, as people practice martial arts, they find that it's a total involvement of the mind, body, and spirit. So you're moving every part of your body. Like my first Korean instructor, Tai Hee, told me, he says this every move you make in Taekwondo, you're engaging your entire body. So just the repetitive movements of doing different things, going to the left, going to the right, bending over, extending legs, extending arms, hands and up. It works every part of your body so that you become more cognizant of your balance and your posture. And so in that way there, it just makes people more attuned to proper posture and balance, and it creates a safer regular life environment for them because they're less likely to slip or fall down or something like that.
Right. So then you would obviously recommend Taekwondo for the elderly for health benefits.
I firmly recommend traditional Taekwondo for the health benefit stuff. Now, what I've always done is the traditional Taekwondo, the style of General Che Ang Hee, the founder of Taekwondo. That's a military style Taekwondo, different than just the sport aspect, because you have sport, traditional, and street martial arts, and you have sport, traditional, and street standing up, sport, traditional, and street on the ground, and grappling, that sort of thing. I think it's important to cover all the aspects of it. But the practice that I do, which is the traditional style of Taekwondo, it's basically a military style, and that is very much in tune with the mind, body, and spirit. Doing everything, and so you can develop your posture, your physicality, your mentality, the whole routine.
What impact does Taekwondo focus on discipline and repetition have on cognitive health or memory retention?
Well, in traditional Taekwondo practice, there's a lot of things you have to learn, and they're learned basically by repeating them. And so the repetition helps seat that in your mind, and the but then again you have to be careful with repetition, because you can't do too much repetitive movement or it breaks down the tendrils in your arm, the dendrites and all that stuff, and then you get tendonitis or something. So you have to be careful not to do the same thing over and over again too much. So that's why I kind of recommend traditional practice and then a day off, traditional practice and a day off, to get the body to recover from too much repetition. But the repetition of the movement does help seat it in your mind, and it helps you develop your cognitive abilities, so that you know sometimes particularly with older people, they get kind of in a rut, and they can become a little bit complacent, and they're just always getting up and maybe going from the chair to the TV, or back in the kitchen or something. It's kind of a routine that doesn't really keep utilizing their mental capacity, and every aspect of their body. That's why I like to integrate, yoga practice. I do Kripalu yoga too. I do Tai Chi. I do traditional Taekwondo. I do it all. It keeps every part of your body moving in every which way, so that it keeps the mind engaged with the body. Um, it's a psychosomatic type of thing.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the next question is, how does earning belts or progressions through the rank affect motivation and self-esteem for the older practitioners?
Yeah, so that's a good question too. Interestingly, the crucial point I found in adult practitioners is when they're literally shocked to get the first stripe. Because when somebody starts traditional taekwondo, you're a white belt. And it's kind of a grueling 20 to 30 hours of practice to get to that first 20, 30 hours. But by then, at that point, you can get a yellow stripe on a white belt. And when practitioners, actually young and old practitioners, when they get that first stripe, it's a revolutionary experience because it's all of a sudden it makes people wake up and say, wow, I mean, I can actually advance in this. I can actually learn higher and higher technique and I'm actually developing. In other words, this is not just exercise. I'm on the treadmill every day, or I'm walking from point A to point B, or I'm jogging, or I'm on a bicycle. And I do bike riding, stuff like that. But this is a different type of exercise where you're actually doing many things at once, which is you're getting physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit, and you're developing self-defense capability, but you're also being recognized as you become more proficient. So the belt system in Taekwondo, which was really started by Jigoro Kano in Judo actually, but it was transferred to all other arts and stuff. It's very good because it gives people a chance to kind of measure their progress, see where they are, and it encourages you to, geez, I want to get that next stripe, I want to get the next belt. So it kind of works great, and it's good for instructors because the instructors, as they're teaching in class, it's a lot easier. You can look around and see exactly what skill level everybody is, so you know what techniques to concentrate on for the various groups.
Right. Now I know you've had students who've been with you 5+ years or so. What are changes that you have seen from long-term practitioners?
Well, when I was in Connecticut teaching Taekwondo, I taught the Regional Y in Brookfield, Connecticut from 1988 to 2016. Had probably about 3,000 students go through that program. And all ages. And these guys were Superior Court judges, they were police officers, military people, housewives, architects, you name it. All kinds of stuff. And what I saw basically is people having fun, having developing their self-defense capability, but becoming generally more fit and generally more in tune with their body. Because as I was trying to explain before, particularly when you're doing yogic type of postures and stuff, you really become aware of how your shoulder feels and how your knee feels and all these different feelings. So it's an integrative type of thing where it's a mind, body, and spirit combined for overall a health benefit. That's the bottom line.
In your view, what is the greatest long-term benefit that martial arts has for aging individuals?
I would say conquering yourself. Um, people tend to people can have a capability of kind of going downward and maybe getting depressed on things, maybe lacking physical fitness, lacking enthusiasm for stuff, maybe becoming very fearful of things, maybe losing confidence and stuff like that. The good thing about traditional martial arts practice, integrating street sport and traditional practice together, while standing up and on the ground, and with the philosophy of the martial arts too, which is basically about peace and basically love and being a good person, is the fact that you can learn to conquer yourself. You become in control of yourself. You can use the techniques and the practice as a vehicle to overcome limitations that you might have felt were either imposed on you or you just couldn't really get beyond or whatever. So the practice is very good for basically just conquering yourself, developing self-discipline, getting into of good habits, and becoming a good person. In other words, being the type of person that does good stuff, not because other people are looking, but maybe you might be alone, but you're still going to do a good thing. Becoming a moral, a moral character, more truthful, doing what's right, focusing inward, basically conquering yourself, being totally in control of what you're doing. In other words, if somebody says, "Geez, let's get high, let's smoke some dope or something like that," absolutely not. It's ridiculous. Somebody says, "Let's have some cigarettes," no, forget it. If somebody says, let's do this activity, something's bad, no, I'm not going to do it. In other words, you have total control of yourself. You're not going on peer pressure. You have the confidence you have the freedom to choose your own behavior. Not bottom line. So there's a lot to it.
One final question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to an elderly person who wants to start but feels intimidated?
I would say begin the journey of conquering yourself. Bottom line, look at your fears. Look at your fears head on. Exactly what is it that you're worried about? Well, I'm worried about my hip or something like that. I'm worried about my knee. Or I see guys flying around in the air doing all kinds of fancy kicks. I can't do that. Or I'm worried about sparring and somebody might hit me in the head or something like that. Or I'm worried about practicing grappling techniques. I'm too close, people sweating all over me. That's no good. So, bottom line is, I would say, address every individual fear, both in martial arts and in your life, head on. Don't use anything to cover up the pain, the challenge, the fear. Head on. Whatever it is, figure out what it is and get through it. So, for example, if you have somebody that's scared about martial arts, they're thinking about martial arts training and is thinking, well, it's too physical for me. Well, then take it in little parts. Do slow stretching. There's static stretching, which I do, as opposed to ballistic stretching. Very safe stretching, very yogic posture type thing. Slowly stretch, slowly get yourself together. And as far as the practice goes, people are doing patterns or all kinds of prearranged sparring drills. Take one at a time and just work on one simple drill until you feel the stance is good, the hand technique, or whatever is good, and just take one thing at a time, slowly, on your own, and with proper mentoring, a good instructor to help you, and support from friends or whatever, you can conquer each fear, either with practice, martial arts practice, or in your life. Just slowly work on each fear, identify the fear, face it head on, and take it one step at a time.
Thank you very much, Master Douglas.
Okay, Michael, it's always an honor.
Thank you.